All right, I've got all these talking points here, Sendu, and you don't know any of them because I haven't shared them with you. And
No, you have not.
they're all landmines, just so you know.
Beauty. How's my
Yeah.
audio just before we get started? Because I've got the window open.
No, you sound great.
Beauty.
You actually sound really good.
Beauty.
So I'm happy to roll. 186 guests. Thank you all for joining us today. I am Savilian. I am the host of Trading Spaces, and today we're being joined by a good friend. And look, let me just be clear, guys. Sendu is not a lose unit. Okay, he is in fact a win unit. Okay, he is a winning unit, but he is also a loose unit. Okay, and that's what I failed to fucking establish in my post earlier today, that he is a winning loose unit, not a lose unit. Well, at least I don't think so. I mean, I suppose we can get into that in a minute because I don't actually know how your first 12 months of trading has gone yet. But we will
Spoiler alert.
uncover that. Yeah. Spoiler alert, he is actually a lose unit. Yeah. No, that's hilarious. Okay, so look, man, I just wanted to say thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it was a little bit of a last minute kind of like hurrah, but yeah, appreciate you taking the plunge.
Thanks for having me on this prestigious medium.
Yeah, look, there's been a bunch of you kind of like following some pretty quality footsteps.
I'm following some heavyweights, some serious heavyweights.
Been nothing but big dogs, big hitters,
nothing but
big
swingers, that's for sure.
We had Homer, or whatever you call his fucking
Tokyo Homer.
What do you call it? Yeah, Tokyo Homer. He's a mad dog. But the big dog, Longhorn Capital, Grand Toss, Joshy, Irwin. There's just been nothing but hitters. Chase, nothing but hitters. And do you know what? We've got another hitter here today.
It's been a runway of just superstar ASX traders.
Superstar, 100%.
And now you got me.
Let's keep it rock. Yeah, hilarious. All right, so I want to know, before we get started, well, now let's start here. I mean, so we'll kind of get to the point where everyone knows kind of like where you're at now and what kind of trading you do. Is it mostly day trading, intraday trading?
That's a good question. I'd say it's about 70-30. Intraday trading being the 30, 70, the other 70 being swing positions and position trading.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, let's go back. I want to go back to Lil Sendu when he's rolling around, probably kind of like end of primary school, going into high school. What's that kid doing? What's he into? What's life look like? What are his aspirations?
Yes, I lived a pretty cookie cutter, follow the path type lifestyle. Graduated high school, went straight to UNSW to do a commerce degree in finance. At that point, I knew that I had some kind of not attitude. I knew I had some kind of interest in markets in general. So I actually opened a Forex trading account when I was 19. That was 2009.
Forex, did you say?
Yeah, foreign exchange trading. I did that just as a punt. I was mostly just flirting with it. I wasn't really. I think I put like maybe $500 in it in the account. It was mostly just a hobby kind of thing. But then I actually really took to it for a few years, and I wasn't. When I say I took to it, I was really interested in it. It doesn't mean I was actually any good at it. But something about the charting and maybe all the flashing lights, because I'm a gambler. Something appealed to me about it.
Degen at heart.
Yeah, unfortunately. So I did that. I was doing that on the side, but I was obviously going to uni at the same time, studying this finance degree. In uni, if you study finance, all they teach you is that you can't beat the market, basically. Something called the efficient market hypothesis. So I'm learning during the day hours how hard it is, how impossible it is to actually make money doing this. And then I would go home at night and just punt 4 hours.
So So you put the theory into practice and realize that they were absolutely correct.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And we'll get into this later actually, because this turned into actually a bit of a mental block for me when I did start trading. But yeah, that's exactly right. After that, went to work at a wealth management / stockbroking firm. Just doing the 9 to 5 thing, like I meant.
This is after uni.
This is after uni, so this is in 2015. So like I mentioned earlier, I was living like a real cookie cutter 9 to 5 type lifestyle. So I was at this wealth management stockbroking firm, and I had some exposure to markets there. I was in the back office, so I wasn't really market facing or client facing. But you are exposed to the markets there, and it did kind of light a fire. Obviously, while this was happening, Nick was trading full time, and Nick and I have a friendship that goes back a few years. And he'd reached out to me and mentioned, "Hey, I'm going to try this trading thing. It seems pretty interesting." And I was pretty skeptical, bit doubtful of it.
Like for him?
For him. I don't know. I'm not trying to speak poorly of the guy, but I just thought, from what I've learned at uni, this craft is just impossible to make money at. And I hadn't come across the rest of you guys in the community that have all made successful careers doing it. So I was very skeptical.
Yeah.
But then obviously,
and I think that's fair though. Like, you only know what you know.
Yeah, I only knew what I knew, and I'd failed at forex trading for about 4 years by this point. And I'd also had a horrific blow up with a specky biotech stock, which we can get into a bit later. But by this point, this was about 2015, 2016. I was 100% of the belief that you can only make money by having a full-time job. You can't just go and punt on stocks and make a good living, which has obviously turned out to be completely false. But that was my belief at the time. Yeah, and then Nick, who's been a close friend of mine for many years, started to have so much success that it was kind of hard to ignore. And he mentioned to me that it's something that my mindset might fit quite nicely.
Yeah, right.
And like I mentioned,
what were his exact words?
I actually can't remember what his exact words were, but I think
you're a dirty degenerate like me.
There might be some some non-PG language used. No, but he was, like I mentioned earlier, like his success was starting to get to a point where it was too hard to ignore. And even me, who's the biggest cynic and skeptic of all this kind of stuff, I was like, okay, he's made this work. I have a passion for it as well, so I started to pay a little bit more attention to what he was doing.
And this is what, 2015, 2016?
This is when I started paying. He started in 2016, I want to say, but yeah, this is when he started getting my interest up. In this game.
If only we had him here to give color on himself.
If only, yeah. If only. I'll let him give his version of events after I'm done here. But yeah, 2016, 2017, 2018, I was kind of just flirting, paying attention to the market, what was going on, punting with stocks here and there, long-term positions only, like 6-month holds type stuff.
Any success?
Surprisingly, a little bit of success towards 2017, 2018, 2019. These were all like long-term investments, though. I couldn't really call it myself an active trader or anything like that. And then fast forward all the way to March 2020, when someone ate a bat and the world went to shit.
That shit crazy.
And a lot of people started making a lot of money in the markets, or losing a lot of money. But things just got very interesting. And that's when I decided, like, it's now or never if I'm going to take this plunge. Because I've been flirting with markets for 10 years by this point without actually, jumping in the deep end. So that's when I quit my job, and then rest is history, basically, as they say.
I do say that. I've heard them say that before. It's actually funny. So, just on the whole, Nick and the introduction into this world, and this actually brings me back a little bit to Erwin told this story a couple weeks ago when he was on about how he met some guy who was like a trader or like in a stockbroking firm or something, and the guy was like kind of semi-successful, and Erwin was like, "All right, show me your bank account."
The Wolf of Wall Street story, yeah.
yeah. Show me your bank account, and flopped it out on the table, and kind of Erwin was sold.
Hey, that takes balls, man. I know everyone's listening to this. That takes balls. I really admire that.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, a similar thing happened to me, except I was like, you know, when he first when Fabo first pitched it to me, I was basically at a crossroads in my life, and I thought I was like, I decided that I was going to be a professional poker player. So I was like playing full time hours, playing Omaha at Star, and he came back from America, and he was like, hey, I'm thinking, maybe, I think this thing would be good for you, kind of thing. And then we were at the casino and we're playing poker, and he's trying to G me up to like give it a crack. And I was like, oh, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like, it was just so far out of my realm of like possibilities, because I didn't even really know what a market was. I know nothing about companies. I knew nothing about how any of this world worked. So it was just like so far from what I'd known. I just didn't even entertain it.
Yeah, I remember I remember your first few days just paying attention to the markets and stuff. You were completely green, weren't you?
Oh, dude, nothing. Literally had no interaction with any company or market, or didn't even know any terms. Like, I barely even knew how to spell ASX. And it was like, so when he kind of pitched it to me, I was like, no, dude, it's not even worth thinking about. But then we were at the casino. We played poker. I made a bit of money playing poker. Then we went and got drunk at there's a nightclub at the casino. I can't remember the name of it. The one upstairs, a big one. We went and got like real lit. Like, there was, vodka Red Bulls all night. And then as we went back to the poker tables at like 4 or 5 a.m. and I gave back everything that I'd made earlier. and then we ended up walking out of the casino at like 7 a.m. and we're both kind of sobering up at this point. And I was like, maybe I could do this trading thing. But how do I know it's legit? Show me your bank account.
Yeah, but you're living proof that, if you have the right psychology and the right mindset, that this can be taught, kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, you're the counter example to every uni textbook I fingered through in the last 10 years.
So we're walking out of the casino, and I remember exactly where we were. We're walking out of the casino. I go, hey, show me your bank account. And he flops it out, shows me his bank account. I was like, oh, okay, all right, we might be able to talk. We might be able to
Jordan
talk.
Belfort whipping out the wallet.
Yeah, seriously. And then then it was my interest was definitely peaked. And and do you know what they say? The rest is history. Yeah. So anyway, I thought I'd throw that in there as a little bit of a tangent.
That's it. I hadn't heard that story before, as long as I've known you, to be honest.
And do you know what? I'm pretty sure the reason I remember it so vividly is because he ended up he ended up calling Stoner to come pick him up.
Oh yeah, I was on that trip. I drove Dan's car home.
Was it you too?
Well, Dan drove Nick home. I took Dan's car home.
Yeah.
Was it that morning? I do remember that morning.
Yeah. That was the morning that I was like, all right, maybe I am going to become a trader.
Oh, that was a fun morning. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny. Anyway, so this is so he kind of pitches it to you. You start to take it seriously, and then March last year, everything's going crazy. Did you lose your job, or did you kind of get reduced hours or anything like that?
No. I'm one of the very lucky people that worked in the finance industry that didn't have any reduction in job security whatsoever.
Right.
So our company didn't cut a single person, I think, from from February 2020 to today. I think they've done really well for themselves. But it was more the FOMO of watching Nick and yourself and Grant and Chris and Owen and everyone else that does really well. Just watching you guys from the sidelines, knowing I was doing a job that, I don't want to sound, every job is sacred, and I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on my past career or anything like that. But I thought my career progression was a little bit limited. It wasn't as mentally challenging as it was when I first started. Gotten a little bit menial. There's obviously a lot more financial upside to doing this game than there is working in a certain 9 to 5s.
And I think like did the control or the potential for like kind of freedom, did that kind of like appeal to you?
Yeah, 100%. The autonomy of being able to run essentially your own business, right? So you're running a trading business.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah. That's wildly appealing, I think.
Yeah.
I think like the freedom of that, not just the time or the financial freedom, but I don't know, like you own something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so I'm watching this from the sidelines as COVID is unraveling,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, I'm 20. So I was 29 years old, and I realized I hadn't really taken a big risk with my life. And I was about
Damn.
to turn 30, and I was like, if I'm not going to do it now, what am I waiting for? Am I going to do it when I'm 39 and I have 2 kids? Like, what am I waiting
Yeah,
for?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so I thought, you know what, let's do it now. And if it doesn't work, at least I can live with, you know, I can live with the fact that I tried at least. Um,
I love that.
yeah, so I quit, and
Was that
yeah,
from the way that you've described kind of like your upbringing and the cookie cutter kind of like step by step path that you were on? It seems like that amount of risk was not normal to you.
not yeah, not at all. Yeah, I lived a very menial, black and white, 9 to 5 type of follow the path type of life. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, like I said earlier, I've never taken a real big risk in my life at all up to this point.
So where did the inspiration for, like, if you're not really, like, if you're not used to kind of this kind of amount of risk in your life, where did the real inspiration from that come from? Was it just like the stars kind of aligned in terms of like Nick's pushing it,
That,
and then the COVID and
that's exactly it. The stars aligned on it. So I've got Nick in my ear about, you know, asking me what I'm waiting. I think I probably have messages. Yeah, there's messages from him in January of 2020 saying, literally, what are you waiting for? Like, why haven't you quit
Yep.
yet?
Yeah.
Like a few things I mentioned earlier, like the career progression and my previous role was a little bit limited. Um, I, I'm not trying to sound like I'm a smart ass or anything, but like it wasn't as mentally challenging as I think trading is, and
Yep.
that kind of appealed to me. I'd spent 10 years flirting with the market, so I think I'd proven to myself that there's a genuine interest and engagement there with how financial markets work.
And to be fair, it's probably good that you waited until now, because like if you kind of like dip your toes in too early, like maybe this forex trading thing, like the mental block that came from that, like dipping your toes in too early can lead to a bit of mental block. Um,
100%.
and and like you kind of you almost need to wait for the right moment, because if it's if you go too early and the timing's not there, you could like cook yourself with that opportunity and maybe not even come back to
Oh,
it.
mate, if I had
Um,
tried to be a forex trader full time, and I'm worried there's a full time forex trader in the audience somewhere, but
Probably
I'm
is.
so
Probably heaps of them.
I'm so convinced that I would have lost my money in a heartbeat. It's just such a I don't know.
It's a grind.
I think it's an impossible game to win personally. There's probably a lot of
Yeah.
real smart cookies in the audience that have made it work, but as we can get into a bit later, I'm not that smart at all, and it wouldn't have worked for me.
Okay.
So I think the way I did it, even though I'm saying it was a big risk, it was less of a risk than it would have been if I'd tried to do it as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And it's like it's almost like you needed kind of some of this um life experience, um, you know, just different things to kind of like all line up, push you in the right direction for it to finally click.
Exactly.
It's like in marketing, in a marketing sense, they say that you need like, and I'm sure that this number's like a lot higher now, but you need like 6 or 7 touch points before something becomes a buy. In terms of a product, and I think it's kind of similar to this story. And like really, like sometimes it can be with our calling, is like you don't necessarily get it right straight away, but if you just kind of stay in tune or stay awake to what the universe is telling you, and you are committed to this kind of overarching goal or dream of like, or like a more autonomy or more freedom or whatever it is, then if you get those touch points, it'll start to kind of like become a little bit clearer. The timing might actually make a lot more sense.
Man, you always blow me away with how wise you are sometimes. You just drop these wisdom bombs on me.
Sorry, brother. I need to reel it in.
No, I think everything you said is true.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
everything you said is true.
yeah, yeah. Because I feel like yeah, like if I'd have tried, like if I discovered trading in like even a year earlier,
Yeah.
like honestly, when Nick came to me, and I actually think he probably did bring it up with me earlier than this, but I wasn't ready. And it was like literally the timing was just perfect. I'd kind of broken my hand, so I like couldn't work, and I was just in between some stuff, and like literally it couldn't have been better timing, and it became a no. It went from being like, oh, shouldn't I to like no brainer.
Like if it's a no-brainer, yeah, you gotta go for it.
Yeah,
you gotta go for it.
Yeah. All right. So you decide to take the plunge. You decide to take this risk. You decide to put it all on black. And then all right. So when was your first trade?
Oh, no, I don't want to make myself sound like I was completely green.
Day.
I wasn't green. I wasn't green on day one. Like I'd been flirting with the markets up until.
But in terms of day trade, like
in terms of day trade, the first day trade was, well, I think my first day off was August 1st. I think it was the first day of earnings last year. Actually, I think that was my
first day of earnings.
I think that was my first
Okay.
full-time day. Actually,
okay, cool.
I could not tell you what my first trade was. I wish I was a little bit more sentimental and kept a record of that kind of stuff, but I don't.
Yeah.
Highly likely it was a loss.
Yeah.
It's taken. I mean, this is month 13, so I'm still pretty green. But there is a steep learning curve to scalping, as you would know, and that learning curve hit me in the face that first month. That's for sure.
Fucking nice.
Luckily, I was a half decent.
Have a drink.
Luckily, I was a half decent swing/position trader by the time I'd already taken the leap. So it kind of cushioned the blow for me. So here I am talking about how big of a risk I took when I was kind of.
You'd already had all this.
I was like
swing long-term shit.
I had a bit of a financial safety net. Like I'm not going to lie about that. I don't want to make it sound like I'm some superhero that just landed on my feet.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first intraday trade, that first month, it was tricky. There was a couple of things to get used to. Like I wasn't used to just sitting in front of screens, sitting in front of Spark for 8 hours in a day, which is actually surprisingly exhausting.
Yeah,
I don't know if you agree, but yeah, that was surprisingly exhausting.
I totally agree. It can totally just drain the fuck out of your brain, like especially. And this is why this is like me and Fab talk about like mental capital all the time, because especially if like there's some days I'll log off at fucking like 4:15 and I'll be so drained because I've just been in and out all day. The like kind of over trading shit, especially when something's going crazy like K and I a couple of those days last week or earlier this week. Like when shit's going wild like that, and I'm just scalping back, in and out. Like I get to 4:15 and I am just zonked. I'm like, I got no chance of doing anything productive or creative for the rest of the evening. I can literally just like tap into a glass of red or a nice IPA and that's it.
Man, I'm usually cooked by 11:15, to be honest.
Okay.
Hey, should we just see if this works?
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, what a...
Oh, Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, perfect. We're good. All right.
Nick, can you hear Sendu?
Yeah, I can hear everything. So it's working.
Sendu, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear everyone.
Ah, beautiful. Perfect. All right. We're good. Yeah, so okay, so you don't remember your first trade.
Don't remember the first trade.
But your first month was, green, red, like what are we talking
So it depends how you look at it. So I have obviously like a cumulative look at profit and loss month by month, but I split it up into intra scalping and longer term positions.
Yeah.
So the first intra month was red. Surprise! I'm sure everyone's shocked to hear that.
Very shocked.
Yeah, overall red. Luckily, because I've obviously had some other stuff, longer term stuff that was working for me. But yeah, the first month was red, which was a little bit of a kick in the face because I had big expectations, knowing that it's earnings season, and I'd seen what you guys had produced in previous earnings seasons, and I came in knowing that it's a big month on the ASX with a lot of companies reporting and a lot of action in both directions. So yeah, that first month was a kick in the face, but I'll probably get into this a little bit later with different questions and stuff. But I think that's probably the best way to learn is just getting kicked in the face now and then.
Yep.
So I went into the lab after that. Like I went through every single trade. I probably replayed every single trade on Spark as well, just getting reps, figuring out what I did wrong, figuring out, just thinking, put myself in your shoes. How would Sav play this? Like, how would a successful scalper play this, and how did I play it, and what was the difference? But yeah, so that first month was red, to answer your question simply.
I think it's a great point about getting punched in the face, and it's something that like only really kind of made sense to me. I don't know, like it didn't make sense to me until like the last couple of years when I've actually been punched in the face a couple of times and not kind of reacted to it, rather kind of like learned from it. So like I think when I was younger, if I'd have been punched in the face, I probably would have reacted fairly emotionally to it. But in the last couple of years, since kind of like discovering a little bit of like kind of doing a bit of a Muay Thai class, and also with trading, getting punched in the face is a really good way to learn. And I relate kind of like sparring to getting size on. Like you think it's going to hurt. You think like, the loss is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Like you think getting punched in the face is going to hurt. But actually it's kind of like revitalizing, and you realize it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. The expectation is usually way worse, or the fear of it being really bad is actually way worse than it actually is. And I think that applies to most things in life. Like life is actually not as hectic or heavy as we think it is. Usually we go into things thinking it's going to be way worse than it is. We take the plunge, we take the punch to the face, we get the size on, and actually, like, it wasn't that bad. Even if you are losing.
There you go, dropping wisdom bombs again.
Yeah, write that down. Everyone, write that down. I can repeat it if you like.
No, you're right though. Like, it's not like, honestly, at the end of the day, it's just money. It's a lesson. It's an expensive lesson. Look, you can pay $100,000 to go to uni and become a doctor, or you can, lose a few bucks trading, and you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn the same way.
Yeah, got to pay that tuition.
You gotta pay the tuition.
Also, for you, Sendu, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were pretty much like reading the ladder when you first started, right?
Yes.
Like, you weren't really.
Yes.
So there was also like that added hurdle of transitioning from like reading a ladder to looking at Spark.
Yeah, I should probably actually explain that. Sorry, Sav, and for the audience.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
So if you look at, you use Iris Depth, don't you, to look at the surplus in the morning?
Yeah.
I had learned.
That's the ladder there.
I had learned to trade. Yeah, I had learned to trade reading that, not reading Spark, not the histogram.
Holy shit.
So
he's doing it the old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned way.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
Mate.
Any more old-fashioned, you'd be in the pit.
I'm beginning to ticker tape in the old-fashioned way. But yeah, no, I wasn't an expert tape reader on reading the depth or anything, but that was how I had learned to trade to that point.
Right.
And then I jumped onto Spark in August and threw myself into the deep end. To be fair, I think the histogram is actually really like intuitive. Having looked at both, the histogram is, I can't put into words how much better it is. If anyone's listening to this and uses the depth ladder instead of the histogram, I can't recommend enough making the switch. It's so much easier trying to read those bars than it is trying to read numbers on a histogram.
And I think most people are like, I don't know about
visual.
Visual. Yeah, like the fact that it's visual. Like some of the times, actually most of the time, unless I'm like really really tuned in, or I really need to pay attention to the actual numbers, I spend most of my time staring at the bars.
It's the auto age. Yeah. You don't get auto age on the depth. That's like that's the key part of the histogram for me. But yeah, there's obviously other benefits too. But yeah, trying to read the depth, it's a losing.
How'd you go trading off of the depth?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, I wasn't really scalping or anything, so it wasn't crucial to me. It was I did use it to identify where the liquidity pockets were, or where the big areas, like where the wall. You can see a wall on a depth chart or in a ladder. Like, it doesn't matter. You know where the walls are, and you can see auto age on the Iris depth chart if you click deep enough. So I had kind of practiced those principles of, where's the stale order, where's the stale liquidity, where's the fresh liquidity. I hadn't realized how much easier it is to identify it when you're using Spark though.
Whole new world.
So
Eh?
yeah, I knew what I was looking for. I didn't know how much easier it is to find it when you have
Yeah,
these
right.
tools at your disposal.
Yeah. Okay.
If Spark crashes, though, Sendu's got a huge advantage. I just sit there with my dick in, with my dick in my hand, and Sendu's just tearing up the ladder.
Yeah.
Not quite.
That's so true.
But yeah, I've probably lost those skills if I ever had them to begin with. But
That's wild. I love that. I don't know.
I think
don't
the
know
other thing
if-
is you can't read open. Again, I don't want to step on the toes of anyone that might be using the depth out there, but you can't read open auctions on a ladder either. The histogram paints such a clear picture for you, whereas
Yeah.
an RS ladder depth just shows you bids and offers at random numbers, and you have to put the picture together yourself, which is really hard
So-
when there's 5 groups opening in the space of 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. So did anyone teach you that, or where'd you learn that? Like to kind of read the ladder depth.
Nick obviously helped. I mean, you guys helped. Anyone that I've reached out to has been nothing short of helpful. There's also,
Yeah.
I'm going to shout out the old man Bryce, who's got that video up on YouTube talking about
The Godfather.
talking about spark depth, which I've watched about 100 times. Once I signed up for Spark as well, I went bananas just rewatching. They've got like a library of replays on there that you can watch, and I just went. But I think I either messaged you or Nick, or maybe both, asking you for a list of good matches to rerun and replay and study, and I just went nuts. I watched everything to try and figure it out, and like I mentioned earlier, like it paints such a clear picture for you that it really doesn't take that long to kind of adjust to it when you've come from trying to read a stupid depth ladder. It's just it's a lot easier. That's all I can say.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, right. Okay, cool. Wait, let me just get my little list of questions up. The landmines, as I like to call them.
I just noticed that Spark is listening to this Trading Spaces, so there you go. I'm giving you some free publicity.
What Spark is? Oh yeah, I see. There you go. Getting a little bit of a spin there. All right, so I've gone through that. Okay. So you started with a little bit of the swing trading, a little bit of the longer term stuff. How has your style or edge kind of evolved in the last 12 months?
Well, this is a long question. I think it's some.
Oh wait.
Yeah,
we got time. We got time.
Some aspects have devolved, actually, to be completely honest with you. I think if you come in as a swing trader, a position trader, your instincts are to be patient and to be hands off with positions.
Mm-hmm.
Scalpers like yourself are obviously the opposite of that. You guys are in and out real quick. You're not going to cop a move against you whatsoever. And there can be some.
Well,
depending.
Sam's been known to cop a move.
I tell you, it's funny that you say that.
I've copped a move.
Recently, I've been way too okay with copping moves.
But you at your best, you're taking what, like 2 ticks tops against you?
Oh yeah. 2, yeah,
100%. Whereas a position trader or a swing trader might be taking 5-10%. They're thinking in percentage terms, right? They're thinking maybe I'll take 20% on this because my upside's 50, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but then when you try to merge those two, when you try to simultaneously run those two strategies together, you have moments where you have a position that's up 20% and it has a pullback, and you think, look, I'm done with this position. It's pulling back. My instincts are to cut it, so I'm going to cut it. And then when you zoom out and look at that daily or weekly chart instead of a 5-minute chart, as a position trader, you shouldn't be looking at a 5-minute chart. You realize you made this huge mistake, but it comes with the territory when you're trying to simultaneously run 2 different strategies.
It's the same, like in my experience as well. Like it's the same going the other way, right?
Yeah.
Starting as a scalper and then trying to widen the time frame.
Exactly.
Like it's a constant battle wearing more than one hat.
Do you
bag
deep? Trying to make bags like bag deep. Hey.
Sorry, go on.
No. Oh, so I was going to say, Fab, do you feel comfortable talking about your CHR trade?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
Fuck, I'll talk about
Like
it.
just because
I'll talk about
rub
Fab's.
it in a
I'll talk
little
about
bit.
Fab's CHR
Rub it in.
trade.
Yeah, rub it in a little bit. Oi, boys, CHR's mooning again. No, just as a reference to kind of like that point that you just touched on, like, you know, the different sides of your brain maybe trying to manage the two different strategies and kind of the inverse to kind of what Sendu would be facing. I think the CHR is a pretty good representation of that.
I think like a better example for me is the Novonics trade that I did just before that Biden
The
electric
lithium announcement.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I started buying some of that. Was it like the afternoon before it was meant to drop overnight? And I had a decent amount of shares. I can't remember how many. But yeah, like just going to that, I held it all like the next day, and it was up like maybe 30 cents from my entry. And late in the day, it started kind of, tailing off a little bit, and I found like my scalping or day trading mindset come back to haunt me there because I think it was like 75,000 shares maybe, and yeah, I started looking at the order book and like, oh, there's only 10,000, 15, 20,000 shares each side. It's like if I need to get out of this like instantly, I'm going to wipe through like 2 or 3 price levels or whatever, and like I kind of just had this like panic moment and then sold them at, I think it was like 304 average or whatever, and I bought them at like maybe just under 280.
I think you said
278 maybe.
Yeah, I think you said you saw a sell algo. That's the reason you sold them.
Yeah, I saw a sell algo, and then like I just completely wigged out rather than thinking of like the bigger picture and the potential for that.
The sell algo is only relevant in the short term, right? Like it's probably not going to play a big role if you're if you've got like a.
And that's the prime example of where like I identified a good swing trade or a good swing opportunity, and like there are a couple of winds blowing in my favor, like tailwinds blowing in my favor, and then it was just like one moment of my day trading cap just being flung on my head, and I've sold them way too early, and that went on, it ripped probably like $1 in the next 2 trading sessions.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's going to be an endless battle, I would say.
It happens every day. I did it today with Whitehaven. I sold some Whitehaven. Sorry to the boys that are listening to this
The coal gang
that love the coal.
Yeah, you're at the coal gang, bro. You've been cut.
Yeah, I cut that on a scalper's mentality when I'm in here for a 3 to 6 month trade. Well, not anymore. I was meant to be. But
you're here to heat up the globe.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to put Tinkler back in business. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, but so was that, how long had you been holding that one?
About a month, I'd say.
But you were planning to go 3-6 months.
I was planning to go 3 to 6 months. I was planning to go like longer term with this.
And why'd you cut it today?
It got super extended. I don't want to down ramp at this like a stock when there's people listening, but like there's some sub notice out someone sold. If you look at the daily, it's super extended. I was just like, yeah, I've probably seen enough here, and I can try and trade. Actually, the problem is I'm trying to trade around these moves. That's the problem you get when you try to merge the scalping hat with the position trades. And it's happened many times before. It's happened to Mick, as he mentioned. You get these moves where the stock looks extended on a really short time frame, but there's a fundamental or a longer term technical reason that you're in the trade, and you find a reason to get out based on variables that shouldn't be relevant to the criteria that got you into the trade in the first place, if that makes sense.
Where'd you buy them? The Whitehavens?
I'm going to sound like I'm humble bragging, but I got them like a month ago.
So
it was a good trade.
Like 210?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, that's pretty fucking good. I mean,
if you look
sounds like a 195 fill to me.
Look, it's just like it's a good daily chart. There's like tailwinds in terms of the underlying commodity price. You know what I mean? Like that's basically how I run a lot of my commodity longs, at least. But then you look at the daily chart and it's just gone up in a straight line for about 7 days.
Yeah. So, I hear that.
And then also like I guess like flipping it, something like Fex for me as well. Like I sold out of that at pretty much the lows. So I mean, I
Because
held
you've kind
for
of traded that, right?
No, I've always held a core.
Right.
I traded around it, like in terms of swing, but like I always held a core with like full service brokers, so I don't touch it. And then, that's one thing that's gone from. I kind of knew in my like gut that the moment to hose them was that the same day that I did that BHP trade. I think it might have been like.
Yeah.
When was that? Was it the start of August or like late July? When Iron just did this like mega bed shit, and you kind of felt like the game was over.
Yeah.
I kind of knew the moment was then to like I sold about a third on that day, but I was just like too slow, and then it moved another like 3 or 4 cents the next Monday, and then I'm like, oh, it'll bounce. Like then I just went into like long term baggy mode, not watching the tape or like not listening to any kind of rhyme or reason. And then I've just ended up bag holding them all to 28.5 when like Iron Ore puked again, and then I'm just like, oh, fuck this, I'm out. So like it's really hard on if you're wearing like three hats, like where you're like, oh, is this a long term investment or like something cyclical like commodities? You have to be like, I guess, ready to just move when the sentiment's gone.
Like short term, mid-term, and long term.
Exactly.
Intra, like swing. So swing, obviously, like more than.
And then invest.
Yeah, then invest. Like for me, like mentally, FX was an investment.
Yeah.
Which meant like, if I just had a little bit more of that, a little bit less of the investment mentality, like I would have traded it a lot better. Like maybe heeding the price action in that moment a bit more.
Yeah, FX was actually that was your fault, Sav. I have a DM from you on the 16th of July at about 3 p.m. saying, hey, man, how many FX do you have? You've done really well on that. If anyone's listening to this and has the FX daily chart up, you can pull it up and you can see a wick on the 16th of July, and that's the high. And that's
classic Sav indicator.
That's when I humble bragged to Sav about my FX, and we've just gone.
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, this motherfucker humble bragging to me. Like, bruh, you've killed that. Like, don't be one of them cunts.
Yeah, that was fun times.
Yeah, you're lucky I didn't fucking call you out on it. I was close. And then it would have been double the pain.
Oh man, I deserved it. I deserved it.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's an all-time top tick though.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's literally the top. It will never go back to. I don't know. Fuck.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's very interesting. Well, there you go, guys. Any of the FX holders out there, you can fucking send your shots my way. Send your shots my way. I've called it. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
Shit happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, so how are we feeling? When I say we, I mean you. How are you feeling? And you can talk about numbers if you want here, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can maybe just say like, green or red, whatever. Yeah. But how are you feeling after 12 months of intraday trading?
I think I made the best decision of my life. Put it that way. I won't mention numbers or anything. And it's not even related to the numbers at all, actually. I just think trading is something I enjoy doing. It's something I look forward to every time I wake up in the morning. It's something I look forward to putting hours into in the afternoons after market close and stuff like that. It fulfills those, like the mental challenge and stuff that I mentioned earlier that I wasn't really getting, the satisfaction I wasn't really getting from my previous job.
Yeah.
Did
you? So one thing we talked about, I think maybe with Erwin and Josh, was the idea that kind of when we were like in jobs, kind of like working 9 to 5 or whatever, we would like look forward to the weekend. Whereas like it's the inverse now with trading. We actually hate the weekend because we want it to be Monday again.
Yeah, I actually, I mentioned.
Have you felt?
Sorry, yeah, 100% I feel that way. I mentioned this to Nick like 2 weeks ago. I don't look forward to the weekend at all. That's mostly a lockdown related thing, but I do look forward to Mondays in a way that I hadn't looked forward to Mondays in my last 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and that's pretty cool. That's pretty bloody cool.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going to sound real sappy, but I feel fulfilled like career wise in a way I hadn't hadn't felt fulfilled before previously. So
Yeah, absolutely.
very happy with the decision. Profit-wise, financially, it's fine. It's going to kind of what I expected. It's going like along a trajectory that I expected it to go to.
All right, so be real with us. How many millies?
How many millies? Like
he's laughing at that. How many millies? He's like, bro, Billy's.
Billionaire Boys Club.
Yeah.
No, I'm also very aware of the fact that we're in this once in a lifetime bull market, and things might arguably be a lot easier than they would be in a choppy sideways market, and we might experience that, starting tomorrow for all I know, and things might get a lot harder.
Totally.
But
Totally.
I can only speak on the last 12 months, and the last 12 months have been pretty amazing.
Pretty solid. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think so. To that point though, about the whole kind of looking forward to Monday. Someone anonymous just mentioned this, but looking forward to Mondays is the aim of life, and
that's how you know. That's probably how you know you found your calling, or
1,000%
passionate about.
1,000%. And this is now like this concept is something that I've always that I'd always been searching for. And I think I spent my entire late teens, early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s searching for this. Something that I just genuinely look forward to and wanted to get up and go to, and wanted to even when it was shit, I still wanted to be there. And I think that's the aim, and if you're not there right now, if you don't kind of wake up Monday morning going, fuck yes, then I think that's life trying to tell you something, oh, maybe you need to have a look at this, G.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, oh, I can't wait for the weekend because then I get to relax and take time away from work and stuff like that. And I'm not knocking anyone that feels like that, but I just feel like if life is if you feel like that, then I just feel like that's probably not the most efficient way to live your life, because you're going to get to 70 and then realize, oh, all I did was look forward to weekends and I didn't get fulfilled by anything that I did. And it's just going to I don't know. I just feel like you're going to get to a point where you might regret that. So
I think you glossed over a really important point there. Even on the days when you have a really shit day and you get kicked in the teeth and you lose a lot of money, you're still super keen to wake up the next day and get back at it, right?
Dude, I honestly, I've had such a challenging last 5 months, but every single night that I go to bed, I'm excited by the fact that tomorrow I get to try again. I might fuck up tomorrow, but at least I get to try again. At least I get to build on something. And that idea and that feeling and that thought has really kept my engine going in the last 5 months. The fact that I just get to have another go tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think part of it, at least for me, part of it's the fact that you can never, you can never be perfect at this game. There's
100%.
always room for improvement. Oh, it could have been bigger, or I could have held longer, or whatever it is. And I think that is, at least for me, is the carrot at the end of the stick, and I'm the donkey chasing it, trying to be perfect, but it's never going to happen. But that's also beautiful, because it means that you're constantly going to be driven and motivated.
Yeah, you guys are my carrots, basically. There's a competitive edge to it as well when you're surrounded by successful traders.
Yeah, I think it's definitely good to be chasing someone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you can go
We're all chasing Sendu.
The Billies.
The Billies.
CBC.
The Billy Boys.
Look at us plebs spelling million with an M.
With an M. Hey, Grantos, if you're listening, are you down with the Billy Boys? If you know what I'm saying.
How's he meant to respond to that, Seth?
He can't. Sorry.
Are we going to lithium stocks or what?
What's that? Are we going to talk lithium stocks?
Yeah. Oh no, just looking at this bingo sheet that I haven't.
Lithium. Done. I don't know.
Fuck, that took a few years off my life today.
Oh, we ticked the COVID box at least. I'm just looking at the bingo thing.
Beauty. But I think we're going okay on it. I can't. I know that I've said IPA.
I haven't heard
definitely, and
KO
I know
once. I haven't heard KO not once.
Yeah, she's been a good girl. She's gone to sleep.
Give me a Billy, eh?
I have cleaned a shit in the middle of this. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Multitasking.
multitasking.
Legend. Yeah. So how many years off your life did it take you today, Fabio?
Oh, I don't know. It was real like annoying because I kind of came in. I was like, oh, you know, I didn't trade the last couple of days because I've been moving. I was like, I'll just take it real easy. Did one trade reasonably well. I forget what it was now. And then I was like,
RWL.
yeah, that one. And then I'm like, oh, this Vulcan thing looks alright. Like the lithiums are pretty strong, and bought that out of the range break at like $13.95. I was just peacefully holding those for like almost 2 hours or an hour and a half, and then the dog woke up, and I'm like, oh,
Top tip.
yeah, I'm like, oh, maybe what I'll do is I'll Chromecast from my trading station out into the living room, and I'll just watch this like dream all day into hold. Like I'll just sit on the couch and watch Vulcan go to like $15.50 over the next few hours, and I'll play with the dog. Two birds, one stone. So I get the Chromecast set up at like 11:50, and I'm like, I smell something, and I'm like, oh fuck, I probably need to clean out her like little piss mat.
Yeah.
So I go grab the piss mat, take it into the shower, clean the piss, come back 4 minutes later. Vulcan's at 14:02, and I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like it just dropped like a stone in 4 minutes, and I was like, all right, nothing to do here but to get baggy and resume transmission.
Yeah.
Wait for this thing to get to 15:50, and yeah, that didn't really work. And then I just got annoyed, and at the same time I aped into Lake Resources at like 59 cents, and that was looking good, and it kind of met a similar fate. So yeah,
Hey
it was a
Nick,
bit frustrating.
I just want a glimpse into the beautiful mind here. So when you're buying Lake, are you looking for like a leader? Are you looking for like a lagger in the sector? What's your thesis there?
So in my head, I'm like, oh, Lake and LTR kind of like had similar moves. They both also start with L. And I don't know, like that's a joke, but I sort of hold them in that like I put them as comps, and like LTR went, and Lake was kind of lagging. I'm like, oh, maybe there's a bit of like overhang for people that bought this like bonus option issue, and they're trying to sell their heads or whatever. But I'm like, oh, yeah, maybe that will clear. All the other lithium names are strong, and I thought that this thing could like put in a decent move, and it looked good for a bit. There was buying there, so I was like, oh, I'll just jump into this as a swing, and yeah, now I'm a baggy. Now I'm an investor.
Now as a long-term investor.
No, I like your thesis there though. They both start with L. That's it.
But, I mean, I like the actual thesis as well. I mean, it's a strong sector and it's a stock that is in a good technical setup.
Most of the other names are like +5 or 6. So I figured I was kind of getting a free look there. So what when Lake was up like +1.7 or just under 2, and then the free look became an expensive one.
Why did my Novonics not work then?
What I don't know. You have to ask them.
Yeah, I had the same. To me, I kind of think Vulcan and Novonics similarly.
That's probably fair.
Yeah. Well, one is a battery stock, one's a lithium stock, right? Not that I know the difference, to be honest, but
yeah, I don't know either. But I just kind of think in my brain they just sit in the same place.
I don't think Magnus.
The stonkability potential is similar. So like you can get a +20 day in Vulcan, and you can probably get a +20 day in Novonics without too much effort.
Yeah, and so when I saw like Vulcan up like 5 or 6% at that time and kind of holding highs, and then Novonics kind of puking, I was like, I am so smart right now. I'm going to buy this. It's going to swing back through VWAP. And if I'd had a big screen TV, I probably would have done the same thing.
So what are you telling me? I'm reading you right, is you top tick lithium today by buying Novonics.
It seems like I'm top ticking a lot of things these days, based on some of the comments I've seen.
Someone stitched us up at about 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Something went wrong. But to your point, Sav, I've done that so many times. There's been so many days when gold is up 3%, and there's just some random dog shit gold stock which is down, and you just think, yeah, this is wrong. Like, this will go up, and it just doesn't go up. It just doesn't work like that.
And what do we say, guys? The market is never wrong.
And the trend is your friend.
Yeah, that's it. All right, moving right along. So, Sendu, what do you think? What do you feel like or think are some of the biggest adjustments or lessons learned from your first 12 months in the trenches as a full-time degenerate?
Biggest lesson, no argument. This game is so like mental / psychological. Like I came in August last year thinking I had to pick up all these like technical tricks, and there's all these things that you and Nick know that are really quick-witted about, like these little auction trades and stuff like that. But personally, I feel like it's just such a mental and psychological thing, like how patient you can be with trades, how persistent you can be if a couple coin flips go against you, even though you know they were the right trade to make. Can you be persistent? Can you be consistent through a drawdown without style drift and trying to do all these random other shit trades to try and dig yourself out of a big hole in one trade? Your ability to sit on your hands when there's nothing going on. Shout out to Chris Grant, who's like the godfather of doing that. I'm still working on that personally, but I think that's like a huge skill to have.
We just call him Zen Master.
The Zen Master, yeah. His ability to not make a trade on any given day is just like, I wish I had that. I think I've listed everything that I said, but like just the psychological side of things, just being consistent in your strategy and being persistent when it doesn't work, and like trying to avoid these style drift type things. Like,
I like style drift. That's a cool term.
Because it's something. It's not a term that I coined. I think it's a common term, but it's something that I've unfortunately dabbled with. You get into like a little bit of a drawdown for a couple of weeks, and you see this trade that might net you a big win, but more than likely 80% of the time it's just going to be another loss. But you try it anyway because you're just trying to you're trying to hit a home run to get out of this hole, and it's just not it's not the right play. And I've learned that the hard way. A lot of smart cookies probably just can jump into trading and just know that right off the bat, but I had to learn it through experience.
I think it's a similar kind of similar thing would happen when I'd be playing poker. I'd be like, you'd start the session kind of thinking, all right, well, I'm only going to play like this range of hands, and I'm only going to play from XYZ position. Then you cop a couple bad beats, and all of a sudden you start limping in under the gun. You start limping in with like 6-7 suited. You start like calling. Like 3 bets out of position with like 10-9 offsuit and shit like that. So I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
I think a lot of it is like just recognizing when you're doing it, because like everyone does it.
Yeah,
and it's the success factor in it is like how quickly you can say, hang on, I'm being a fuckwit, or hang on, like I'm not, this is not my edge, and then quickly like going back to what has made you money. So it's your ability to like fall back in line. That probably determines your success.
Yeah, I think Nick's mentioned that to me a couple of times before. Like when things aren't working, just go back to what does work. And
do you how do you feel like you've managed that part of it, like in terms of trying to negate the style drift?
I'll be honest, like I think I struggled with it I've struggled with it until just recently, to be honest. Like I have a tendency to meddle with my trades and tinker and try different things. Probably it's that being a degenerate gambler is a double-edged sword, I guess. But I tend to tinker with things, and I've tried different things. Like I'll try different trades and then find out the hard way that those trades don't work.
But you kind of have to do that, right, to progress.
Personally, I think I prefer to have done it my way than to have just found one thing that works and never tried anything else. Personally,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of a succinct way to say it, but like it's if you can manage your risk appropriately while trying different things, I don't think it's the worst idea in the world, personally. To find out what works for you personally.
I think. Sorry, I think the key thing is if you have something that works, and it's repeatable and you can keep going to that cookie jar, and you keep doing that because that's just like your baseline level of income, and then you start trying stuff on the side to figure out what works. That's fine, but it's just making sure that that where you're where you're going to eat kind of thing.
The bread and butter.
And for me, early on, that was the match trade. That was like giving me runway or buying me time to, try other more adventurous stuff like mean reverting or, whatever it is. But it's just, the ability to then go, hang on. Like, that's not my core competency. This is, now that that's not working, I need to go back to this and stabilize the ship. And the quicker you can do that, the better.
And I think going away from that core competency with the awareness that, all right, maybe the size has got to be smaller. Maybe I can't. Maybe I just need to be more short term with it in terms of not kind of like letting it run because I don't really have the edge here yet.
Yeah, for me personally, that bread and butter trade was just a base breakout trade. I'm just hoping to add some value to whoever's listened to this. There might be a position trader, but for me,
add that value.
For me, that was just just trying to find a base in an uptrending stock in a sector that had tailwinds.
Have you got an example?
Have I got an example? SHV, I'd say, had a nice little base around $8 over the last month, and I think it's taken off. I actually don't know what it did today, to be honest, so I might be talking out of my ass here. Off the top of my head, what else had decent little bases? I think GNC posted a nice little earnings base after their report recently. Just something in an uptrending stock in a strong sector that's based for a month.
SHV had a really good day.
Around $8, right? That base.
So it's up to finished at $8.88.
Oh, there you go. And that's another example of me choking off a trade earlier than I needed to because I've got that scalping mentality mixing into my position trades. But things like that, just little bases and uptrending stocks. That's if you're trying
to your bread and butter.
If you're looking for if you're a swing trader looking for breakout trades in a market like this when there's always 150 out of the ASX 200 stocks are going up every day, it seems like recently. You're going to find something that works in that criteria. So that's always been my bread and butter. If I start to get out of my warehouse a little bit, let's go back to that.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, just kind of simplify it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And what are some of the things that you've kind of tested or dabbled in over the as you've kind of tried to expand your playbook a little bit?
Oh, you're gonna make me sound so degenerate. I've tried so many things.
Any reverse sweeps?
I have got trick shots galore.
Oh, I love that. Over backward points.
Mate, I've got the old a few of the boys listening to this will be very familiar with the 330 Dalian iron ore trade. You try to front run an iron ore move, or what else have we got? January, February last year is when we had the big market melt up, was it? I think. And I was testing all sorts of gap up theories, Zip. A couple of them worked in my defense. Zip had this big announcement. I think it might have been February last year, and then it gapped up 15% the next morning. You just try and make an opinion on where the retail money is going to be positioned the next morning, and try and make a guess on where the gap is going to be. Or the other one I've tried a few times is during earnings season, just trying to guess not trying to guess, but trying to make an assessment.
A lot of guessing going on.
Well, that's what I'm going to sound like the biggest punter, but there's a lot of what I do. It's guessing with managed risk, though.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But you're trying to make like during earnings season, you're trying to assess where all the big research houses like UBS and Macquarie and Morgan Stanley, where they sit on a stock, and their earnings report comes out, and you try to figure out what their opinion is going to be, what kind of adjustments they're going to make to their price targets, what they're going to say to their clients, their Insto clients about the stock. Is the Insto client going to try and make a big move in either direction, up or down? Your advantage as an individual trader is that you can make that move in an instant, where these guys might take days to make their trade. So you can kind of front run that. Yeah, little things like that I've tried. It's trial and error, to put it bluntly. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm some kind of quant / system trader with like a foolproof system. It's a lot of feel. It's a lot of trial and error. A lot of things don't work, and you just got to be okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, Sendu. Last question, and then we'll jump into some user-generated content. Future plans in terms of where do you see kind of the next 12 months of your trading going, and kind of I think I know the answer to this one already, but kind of touch on as well. Do you ever see yourself going back?
Hell no. And I apologize to any of my past workmates that might be listening to this, because I know there's probably a few of them listening. No, I'm not going back. I'm not fucking leaving. I ain't fucking leaving. I'm fucking leaving. No, no, I'm in this for the long haul. I've traded these 12 months like a learning experience. I've been lucky enough to be profitable over the 12 months, which is really nice, and I don't take that for granted. My objective is to get to a point where I'm comfortable and confident that I can be profitable in any market condition. Like I mentioned before, like, we're really lucky, but it's not we. I'm very lucky that I'm a very long bias trader, and we've been in a very friendly environment for a long bias trader. And I don't take that for granted, and I'm not under any disillusions about the fact that that's helped a lot. And each day I pretty much just kind of focus on improving as a trader, improving my skills, improving my mental game, the psychological edge, getting myself to a position where I'm confident and comfortable that I can make money in any environment. That might be a Mike Bellafiore quote, actually. I'm not sure. I don't think I came up with that myself, but that's how I see the next 12 months playing out. Whether we're in another 12 months of market melt up, or whether we go sideways, or whether we get another COVID crash, or whatever it is, if I can be green and I can look back and say I've learned something and I've gained something and I've progressed as a trader, that's enough for me. Like I said before, personally, I have a passion for it. I enjoy it. I'd probably pay to do it, to be honest. Like, I'm not really, I'm not too stressed about trying to match Nick's P&L, which is stratospheric. That's obviously a goal, but I do it because I enjoy it, and hopefully I can get better and get to a point where I am putting up those kind of stratospheric numbers, and that'll be something to be proud of.
I think
beautiful.
Like, as a cross section of the last 12 months, like, if you're able to be profitable in like April, May, June this year, like, I think you've gone a long way to being profitable in any market, because that was pretty tough.
It was choppy. Yeah, it was choppy. You're right. It wasn't just a dreamy 12 months. But
and especially with the adjustment you would have had to make, right? Because you had like December, Jan, Feb, March, where it was just like, the dog could have made money.
Exactly.
And then having to make that adjustment to like a slower market and then not blowing up. Like, I think that.
And I think
that's probably key.
I think that's what that skill that I was talking about that Chris has, that I don't have yet, but I will have soon. The ability to sit on your hands when there's nothing there for you.
Zen Master Chris.
You can just, I don't have to hit home runs every day, right? You can sit on your hands a couple of days, and then Monday through Thursday, nothing happens. Friday, there's a big opportunity there. That's kind of the mindset I want to gravitate towards over the next 12 months. just being able to wait for that big opportunity and then absolutely smoke it when it's there. And I think that's something that you and Nick are actually really good at. You guys smoke those big opportunities when they're there. So that's a goal.
That took me I'm gonna say it wasn't until COVID that I learned to do that. So I reckon it took me a full 5 years to be able to like chill out.
Yeah. I think it's invaluable, that skill though, right? Because you're not, instead of chopping up money Monday through Thursday, you might be flat.
Yeah, you're like sniffing for the big
Exactly.
trade.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just having faith that catalyst is around the corner. That opportunity is around the corner.
That's the thing. You kind of like, as soon as it chills out for a little bit, or you feel like it's done here. That's when you start pushing, because you don't think that next thing is going to come. But it's always right. It's always fucking right around.
It's always right around the corner.
It's always right around.
It's often that afternoon if you blow up at 10 a.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
What do you know? 2 p.m. There's an announcement.
There'll be like a fucking
breaking news trade.
Yeah, or an IPO like PFE or KNI or something like that will just go ballistic, and you'll be like, "Oh, I'm out of the hole." And all you have to do is fucking wait.
I actually have, I think PFE is actually a perfect example, because I'm pretty sure I was in the red that day until that IPO.
Yeah.
There's been so many days where like the Motley Fool thing is due at like 12 p.m. and I just get into a world of pain in the first hour, and then I'm like, I hope this Motley Fool recommendation is gonna get me back into the green. And sure enough, it gets me close, but like it's just like, fuck, if I'd just been more patient.
Yeah, 100%. Beauty. All right, boys. I think we'll open it up for a little bit of question time. So if anyone out there is interested in asking either Sendu, Nick, or myself questions, feel free to jump on and request now, and we'll jump into it. All right, so we've got Jace. Jace is going to come on and ask a question. Jace, Daddy, talk to me. How can we help?
Hey, fellas, can you hear me?
Gotcha, loud and clear.
Hey, mate. So my question, I guess, is more to Sindu. I actually trade exactly like him. I use the Irish ladder, and I swing and intra as well.
So you're making billies as well.
Yeah, get it, Jace.
No. I know the limitation of.
I can.
We can hear.
I can hear everyone.
I can't hear Jace. Hang on, I'll leave and come back.
Yeah, all good.
Hopefully the question's not for me.
It's not.
No, it's not. Go, Jace. Ask your question.
Yeah, my question is more around the swing and intra bit. Like, I'm doing swing and intra as well, and is there a style that you're leaning towards more, or
which specifically
in the next
with
12 months? Yeah, in the next 12 months, do you actually have a style you prefer more? Do you actually want to become more of an intraday trader? Like, what's your view?
I don't plan on changing that too much, unless, so if things get, I want to be flexible and adjust to the market conditions. So as you know, because so you mentioned that you're doing the swing trading stuff as well. If we get into a market condition, if we get into a market that starts to get really choppy and there's gaps every morning, that's really not friendly or conducive to swing trading. Like, February, March, April in 2020 were probably really good examples, when there's just stocks are gapping up or down 3% every day, and you don't know which direction it's going to be, and you're gambling. I think those are the periods where it's really good to be a Savilian or a Fabo, because those guys are scalpers. They're coming in flat every morning. They can take advantage of the gaps in either direction. Whereas someone like me, who's stuck in overnight positions, those mornings when there's big caps, your mental capital is drained, and all your time is dedicated to cleaning out all those positions, or just managing those positions. So I will follow what the market does, where it leads me. If we're in like a really low volatility trending market, I will continue to keep trend trade positions on and breakout positions on. If we revert to a really choppy and gappy market, I'll kind of revert to the scalping and the intraday stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Crazy timing, because Chase and I actually had a discussion on this this morning.
Yeah.
Last night on swing and intra, and
I think it's a great time to be. I think it's I couldn't imagine a better time to be a swing trader personally. I mean, we've got a market that's just going up in a straight line. Like, it's just, yeah, I think it's a great time to be dabbling in those types of trades personally. But that's coming from someone who's been doing this for 12 months.
Yep, cool. Thanks, man.
Oh, good.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, Dazaton,
Yeah,
how you
mate.
going, G?
How you going, mate? I have a couple of questions. First question is, when do you guys expect the market crash to happen soon? My second question is, do you guys have a purpose in life? What's your purpose in life?
Oh, good question.
That's all yours.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm not going to answer the first one because I've got absolutely no idea. Daza, unfortunately, I got no idea. The second one, however, I can answer. The second one, to me, is a really important question, and it's probably more important than the first one even. And it's not as simple as like a 50-cent get rich die trying kind of scenario. It's more about like, one thing I like to think about is the funeral test, right? Does it? I like to think about the funeral test. So like when I die, how many people are going to be at my funeral, and how many people are going to say positive things about me, right? How many people did I touch? How many people did I influence? How much generosity did I spread? How much good did I bring to the world? So in terms of purpose in life, I have always felt, since I was actually quite young, that I was here to kind of like make the world a better place than what I found it in. And so with everything that I do, it's all, I feel like I want to like enter a room and leave with people smiling, leave with people kind of like, feeling good about themselves. So everything that I do in my life is kind of, not everything. There's obviously some selfish kind of like things that I do, and, some stuff that I prioritize myself over others. But the majority of stuff that I do, I want to leave people enriched, make sure they feel valued, make sure they're leaving with something positive. So yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if that necessarily answers the question, but to me, that's what my purpose in life, I feel like it is. Through this kind of stuff, like public speaking, through the content I create, through the music I make, through my general interactions. Like every time that I like see someone like on a walk or at the dog park, or walk into a cafe or whatever, like I'm always trying to like leave that place or that person better than I found them, kind of thing.
Well said, sir.
Yeah.
What was the first question?
When's the market crash coming, or if there is a market crash?
I mean, I don't think central banks are going to let that happen anytime soon.
Yeah, we've already seen it. Probably not coming.
But I mean, I don't know if you heard about this super potent variant of COVID in South Africa.
No.
Just saying.
Is there a thing?
Just saying. And no, it's a thing. I'm not talking shit.
I've not heard of it.
Jay Powell better get that money printer going.
So Dazaton, does that help, G? I'm sorry we can't answer the first question. But yeah, hopefully that shines a little bit of light for you.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer to your purpose. So if it works for you, then go for it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That was super deep, Sav. Yeah, I appreciate that answer as well.
Thank you, Sendu. Thank you, Dazaton. Have a lovely weekend, Daza.
Thanks, mate. You too.
All right, who we got next? We got Spade of Aces. I like that. Me, poker player and all. Spade of Aces. Talk to me, baby. Go for it.
Two questions. So when you look for a bullish trend or whatever, do you buy on the support on the baseline, or do you buy the breakout? And then also, how do you deal with a back test do you set like a stop loss just below when it back tests on the breakout, or do you sell as soon as you start seeing it's gonna taper off?
Yeah, two ways I would play it personally. There's one way you can play it, which is you can buy as close as possible to the level where you know that you're wrong. So support, in other words. You might see a stock pull back to level, $2.01, and you know that the trade is a fail at $1.99, so you can buy it there. The other option, and then your stop is obviously $1.99. The other option is the breakout level might be $2.05. That might be the previous high that's tested. It's pulled back. Volumes come in. It's lifted on higher volume than it did when it pulled back. And then this is where having some kind of knowledge of the order book plays into it. You might see that the offers at $2.06 and 07, 08, it's all stale money. There aren't fresh sellers like lining up ready to smack their shares out. You might prefer to buy there. If I'm buying there, my stops are super tight because if I'm wrong, it's going to go all the way back down below $2. If I'm buying at $2, my stops are the same either way. So yeah, it's a swing trade or a breakout trade for me basically. If I'm buying at support, it's a swing trade, and my stop is my stop. And if it's a momentum trade, I'm buying at the high and I'm giving it like 2 ticks tops. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't grab the second part of your question.
No, that was hit it pretty much, both of them, with the swing trade buying on the support, and then on the breakout, you keep your stops tight. No, cheers for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So long as I think as long as you know that your upside is, your upside to your downside is 2 to 1, as they say in the textbooks, and as they say on SMB Capital and all that and everything else. I think you're all right. It's just a matter of executing it and sticking to your stops, sticking to your rules, and not changing just because you're down a little bit of money and you don't want to take the loss or anything like that. I think you should be fine.
Yeah, sweet. Cheers, mate. I appreciate it.
Cheers, man.
Awesome, Spade. Have
All
a good
good.
weekend, mate.
You too, mate. Enjoy.
Cheers. All right. We've got Rob Wynn up next with a little question. Rob, talk to us. Rob, you're live on Trading Spaces.
Rob is muted.
Rob, you're muted, G. Rob. All right, we're good.
Here he comes. No, here he comes.
Is he coming?
Well, I saw the mute sign go away.
Add a speaker. All right, we'll try him one more time. And
there you go.
Rob, you're in.
Rob,
talk to us.
So, Sendu, thanks for obviously giving up your time and talking a little bit about your background. I found it really interesting. So, thanks for that. My question is,
you're welcome.
I do a lot of intra in the US session, being here in Perth, so I know all too well about reading ladder.
Oh yeah.
And I obviously for swinging is on the ASX. So I do find Spark quite refreshing in terms of looking at the histogram. You talk about age of orders and so forth, and obviously there's some options there that you've got in Spark for what sort of age you're looking to set it on. So for you, what's your sort of preference on what you want to sort of see as being, stale and fresh?
Yeah, I'll get Nick to speak on this as well, but I'll have my say first. Personally, so if I want to see a breakout happen in the morning, I don't want to see any. I'm talking from the long side here, I don't want to see any or minimal offers from that day. So you're looking at a stock that's at 52-week highs. Preferably, all the liquidity on the offer is stale, and when I say stale, I mean from the previous day or ideally from previous weeks. If you get into a stock which might be breaking out intraday, I might switch it to just like a 2-hour order age, like just offers that were there pre-market. But essentially, like there's no hard and fast rule to it. Essentially, what I'm looking for is just to make sure that there isn't some massive seller just waiting for guys to buy into this breakout that they can just land their shares on, or they can just sit there and sell their shares into. Breakouts usually work when there's less supply. Obviously, it's kind of intuitive. And order age is just kind of another tool that you can use to identify if there is supply or not. And obviously, as we, sellers are getting more sophisticated these days, they're hiding in center point. They might just whack bids. They might take liquidity instead of making it. But to break it down as basic as possible, I'm just looking for offers that aren't there fresh that morning or that day. And you're looking for a stock to break into some fresh air, clear air, and ideally demand just overpowers supply on that particular day, and there's no offers there, and then off you go.
Perfect. Cheers.
Easy. Nick, did you want to speak on that as well? Because I know you have clearer thoughts on order age than I do.
I kind of missed the front end of that question, unfortunately.
The question was just like, what do you look for in order age when you're trying to make like a breakout trade?
What sort of time frame? Like,
just I'm assuming on a daily time frame, but just on any breakout trade.
I think I heard what you said. Pretty much like the more stale the offer, for example, if you're long, then the better that is because you've got less people actively trying to sell. But for that kind of stuff, for long-term stuff, I don't really pay that much attention to what's like the order age. I only pay attention to that if I'm like scalping.
And for that, Nick, what sort of setting would you have for Spark, just as a preference for you?
Oh, I always have like just 1 day order age for both. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Beauty. Thanks, Rob. Have a great weekend, mate.
Yeah, you too, guys.
All right, guys. We'll do these last 2 questions and then we'll bugger off because Parramatta's playing soon, and I need to see them beat Penrith before they go on to win the premiership this year. So
I'm also on 8% battery and 4% on my AirPods. So we need to
All right. We'll do these last 2 questions from DJ and Cord, and then we'll get out of here. So DJ, Dolphner. Yeah, gotcha, mate. How are you? Very, very good.
Look, I'm quite new to trading, so I just wanted to ask a couple of questions that you guys might have experienced in the past. And if they're dumb, just tell me that they're dumb.
Beautiful.
So the first one is, look, I started really looking into stuff a little while ago in just, things like Vulcan Energy Resources, Zip Pay, Afterpay, the stuff that people are hyped on. And that's what really attracted me to it. I'm a bit of a gambler myself anyway, so I like that. So that's what I thought,
You're amongst friends here.
Yeah. No, that's good. Good to see it. So I mean, when I first got into Zip and it was like fucking $2 or something, and then I pulled out at $12, and I was like, wow, this is so easy, right? And then I did the same thing with Afterpay, and I got absolutely chopped after that. I'm like, fuck, I've lost most of my money now. So, anyways, but what I saw is a potential to make money. Now I've got a young family and stuff like that as well. And as I was looking into it, and I started doing a bit more research into, lithium stocks, things that will take off in the future, given the global energy position that we're in, climate change, et cetera, et cetera. So I put in a chunk in Vulcan Energy Resources, and it's become pretty good from there. So my thing is a couple of ones. One is which industries or which areas or which commodities or which trades do you see, doing well in the next 12 to 24 months? And the other thing is for somebody like me who's just started off, I only have a CompSec account. Is something like that good enough to start getting your hands into things?
Can I answer the second question? Yes, 100%. I think CompSec is fine if you make the right trades and you hold on to them for long enough. Your brokerage, you're paying $30 each way. If you hold a stock for 6 months, that's more than enough. I still use CompSec myself personally, so I have absolutely no issues with anyone using CompSec. I don't know if anyone wants to speak on the first question. That sounds like a bit of a fundamental question, which I'm not equipped to answer because I follow charts. So if a commodity chart goes up, then yes, I'm bullish. If a commodity chart goes down, then no.
And where do you look at your commodity charts? Which areas do you look at? I mean, what are you looking at? Because I follow the newspapers, I follow global trends. I look at the US stock exchange, so on and so forth, just to get an idea for the next day's trade. Because I've only just started delving into the day trading side of things, and I'm only doing it like a couple of hours in the morning before I start work. And just along those lines, just to get my hands into things and just to see, because I mean, like you said, I mean, in your conversations earlier, it was really good that I sort of, I mean, I enjoy gambling and I enjoy golf and things like that, right? And doing this, it's a lot of work sitting in front of the computer, but it also allows you to do the things that you want to do rather than having to go and work for somebody else. Essentially, you're doing stuff for yourself. It's your own business. So that's what I mean. Where are you getting most of your information from and making your decisions for the next day's trades?
So, DJ, I think so. We kind of one of the main tools that we use is Spark.
Okay.
It's a charting and depth kind of software where you can kind of you can kind of like look up your charts. You can look at the depth of any particular stock. You can it has an ASX news feed that plugs into it. You can get you can put together watch lists and smart lists of different sectors and different kind of trends that you want to keep an eye on. You can basically like monitor all this stuff and more. Like it's a really powerful tool. So yeah, that's probably the main one I would say. Like
So Spark, is it just an app? I mean, is it just a website that you create a login to or something like that?
So it's you kind of like, it's a bit of software that you pay for and download. So it's something. I don't know if I might be able to link you to the website after this if you like.
I might just add something because DJ did mention commodities. You can literally just go to your internet browser, type in like investing.com. You can just track your commodity prices through there.
Okay. Yeah.
Keep it simple. You don't have to go. You don't have to dig through.
No, exactly.
Too deep
I mean, I'm just starting out. So it's not like I'm playing with $1 million a day sort of a thing.
No.
Yeah. So it's just I just want to start learning as much as I can. I don't need to talk big boy stories, thanks a lot for your help, Sullivan. I'll reach out to you as well. I listened to one of your songs, man. It's not too bad at all.
Now we're talking.
Now it's like there's a UK singer, man. So, I mean, not a singer, but a rap artist who does very similar stuff to you. He got stabbed in his head. I hope you don't get stabbed in your head, but
oh geez, I don't think
Dr. Green or something.
I don't think I'd fare well with a stab to the head.
Nah, Dr. Green or something.
I remember that guy. Yeah. Just
look him up. Yeah, he's good, man. He's pretty good. Now, all the best, guys. Thanks again.
Appreciate it, DJ. Have a great weekend, brother.
Yeah, you too, mate. If you don't mind, I'll reach out to you some stage just to learn a few more things, if that's all right.
Go for it. DM's always
all
open.
All right. Cheers, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, mate. Bye. All right, guys, we're just going to go with Cord.
Let's go one more.
Yeah,
let's go one more.
Colette. Hopefully, it's not just the gold question. Cord or Colette, if it's just a gold question, like we don't know.
No fundamental question.
Cord, is it the gold question?
No, it wasn't. I was trying to ask, since you guys survived through the crash, just wondering during the downturn market, because like me, I'm always do the swing trade, right? So basically long, which is not possible during the crash. What do you guys prepare for? How do you prepare for yourself for that one?
That's on you, Sendu.
Sorry, how do you prepare yourself for a bear market?
Like when basically,
okay,
so okay, this is out 100% cash. When do you know, okay, this is a comeback now, so gotta have to go full 100% holding.
Sorry, so in this scenario, you're already in cash and you're trying to figure out when to go back into the market.
So in this scenario, just saying now we're at a peak, and then what kind of signal that tell you, okay, you have to go 100% cash now.
Oh, what's the signal to go to cash? Oh, mate, if I knew it, I wouldn't be on this podcast. I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere. I'd be rich. Yeah. No one knows that. No one knows this kind of stuff. So you got to have stops. That's why you got to use stops. Some people use trailing stops. I don't know. Some people might claim that they have a signal that tells them where the top is, but no one knows.
No one knows.
Run the way I'm approached. I have approached the last 12 months, and the way I'll approach the next 12 months is we're in an uptrend until we're not.
Yeah.
And when we're not, I'll probably cop a loss on some open positions, but I'll get the fuck out and I'll sit on the sidelines and I'll reassess. But don't put pressure on yourself to identify where the top tick in the market is, because you're not gonna find it. And if you do, it's luck. It's not skill.
Well said.
So just just recognize that the market's in like a really strong uptrend. Ride the trend. When the trend is no longer a trend, get the fuck out and then reassess.
How about the bottom? When do you know when to get in?
How about the what? Sorry, the bottom.
It's a similar thing, I'd say.
It's a similar thing. I think you can piece this. I would never put. I've only seen one massive bear market, and that was the same one that we've all seen, which was the COVID crash.
I lived through like 2018 and then 2008. You remember that one toward Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that
wasn't that bad.
Like it was a pullback, right? That was more of a pullback, right? Yeah. But with regard to like COVID, the thing is, you might have thought that, the ASX 200 at 6,000 was the bottom, and then it went to 5,000, and then it went to 45,000. I think, I don't know where the actual low was. So if you try to like pick the bottom, you're just going to get run over more often than not. I think something that I don't know if he's still on Twitter, that Rolly Trader guy, the guys who run Suvi, which is a really great site. Those guys preach that you like dip your toes in the water with certain stocks, certain leading stocks. And then as the market gets stronger, you'll find that those certain leading stocks, the list of them gets longer and longer. Yeah. So I think during COVID, I think like Chorus, CNU was like the first stock to bounce. Like a few stocks bounced first. And then, before you knew it, a month later, there was a bunch of stocks that were bouncing. And that's how you kind of know that,
this is the end.
The market's getting a little bit stronger. Yeah. I think, so you go stock by stock. I don't think you can take an opinion and say, look, this is the market bottom. Like that's way too much pressure to put on yourself. And it's such a small, it's just such a small bullseye to hit. So I think you just go by stock, try to find the leading stocks and then, work your way into those.
Beauty.
Thanks, yeah.
Awesome, bro. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, guys, I think we're gonna pull the pin there. Sorry if we didn't get to anyone who wanted to ask a question. Make sure you remember them. We'll try and jump on Trading Spaces again next week, and we can ask the questions there. Or alternatively, feel free to DM myself. Sendu, are you open to people asking you questions in the DM? Yeah. 100%. So if anyone wants to, follow Sendu and asking questions, feel free to jump in there. Sendu, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for taking the plunge. It's actually been really fun.
Thank you, Sav. I hope you enjoy watching the Eels get absolutely bent over.
That's it, man. I've had enough of you already.
Mate, you've got a third string Parramatta side going up against a full strength Penrith side. How's that going to work?
If we show any amount of heart or character, I don't care what the score is. Like,
can I put you on the record? Can I put you on the record as someone who tweets Eels premieres every weekend?
100%.
Where do you see the Eels season ending this year?
Realistically?
You're on live. Yeah, realistically. Tell me.
We won't make it past first week of the finals. Nah, I don't know. No, we're playing the Knights.
I was afraid of that.
We're playing the Knights probably in the first week. I think we probably beat them.
Wait, what? Well, no. If you come fifth, you're playing the Sharks.
Well, that's if we come fifth. At this stage,
where do you see yourself?
I think we're going to finish sixth because we're sitting in sixth at the moment. Manly are going to win. We're probably going to lose, so we're going to have to stay in sixth, and then we'll play the Knights, which is
You'd rather play the Sharks, right?
Way rather play the Sharks, but I think we're going to play the Knights, and that's a bit of a bogey game because I just feel like they'll be on. But anyway, I feel like we do beat the Knights, but then we lose in.
I don't know, man. I have so much love for Mitchell Pearce.
Okay, anyway, anyway, people have got things to get to.
There might be some Knights fans on here getting real upset with your comments.
That's right. My brother is a Knights fan, like very diehard Knights fan, and we'll obviously kind of get amongst the game, but it'll be good either way. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the finals. Looking forward to seeing Turbo turn it up, Cleary turn it up. Yeah.
That's good to have some sport on, isn't it? It's fucking great. What else?
Speaking of, how's the cricket been?
Wait, we got another half an hour?
No, we don't. We got to go.
Yeah, we
Anyway,
gotta
thank
go.
you. Thanks for joining me, Sendu. Thanks to everyone who listened in. Sorry for all the technical difficulties to begin. Glad that you guys stuck it out, and hopefully you learned something tonight on Trading Spaces. Where what do we say? The market is never wrong. Yeah, but anyway.
I think you're gonna say the rest is history.
Yeah,
All right,
the
never
rest
mind.
is history. Yeah, same thing. Anyway, yeah,
Thanks,
cheers,
Savo.
guys. Everyone have a great weekend, and yeah, we'll hopefully chat to you next week. All right, peace, gang.